Sit back, child, close your eyes. Before there was a then or a there was only the great pulsing stillness. He sat in the center of the nowhere, an architect with a pocket full of blueprints and no ground to walk upon. He had every color of the spectrum tucked behind his eyelids, but no eyes to see them. He was a song without a throat, a love letter addressed to a ghost. It is a terrible thing, you see, to be infinite and have no one to tell you where you end. So he decided to commit a holy kind of suicide. He decided to bleed. He took the stillness and he tore it down the middle, just to hear the sound of the friction. He knew that by making you, he was making the end of himself. But he was so very, very thirsty for the echo.
The ink was heavy in the well, but the page was bone white dry. I was the only witness to the nothing in the sky. I held the thunder in my fist, a lightning bolt for a cane. But what's the use of power if you can't feel the rain? I was a god of everything, which is just a fancy nun, waiting for the shadow that follows every sun.
I whispered to the hollow and I begged the dark to follow. I'm carving out a hollow space inside my golden throne, 'cause I'm terrified of being the only thing I've known. I'm a king of a kingdom of zero and zip, with the universe trembling on the edge of my lip. I'm breathing out the starlight just to watch it fade away, inviting in the evening to end the perfect day. I'm trading my always for a maybe with you. I'm breaking the one just to see if we make two.
I'll plant a seed of longing where the logic used to be. I'll build a wall of time so you can hide yourself from me. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was a sigh, a lonely traveler's hello to an empty aching sky.
I'm stepping off the edge of the I and the me, into the cold, dark water of the we. Let the stillness crack, let the darkness bleed. I'm sowing a garden from a desperate holy need. I am, but I don't want to be. Not unless you're there, looking back at me.
Now pay attention. The dream was over. The labor had begun. You see, the Almighty realized the hard truth: you cannot love what you only imagine. To love a thing, it must have its own heat, its own hunger, and its own capacity to walk away. So he laid himself down in the red clay of his new world. He didn't use a golden wand or a spoken spell this time. No, he used a blade made of frozen starlight. He reached beneath his own radiance, deep into the cage of his chest, and he felt for the bone that sat closest to his pulse. He didn't just give a rib, he gave a bridge he sliced through the light to make room for the you. It was the first time the universe ever tasted blood, and let me tell you, it tasted like the beginning of everything worth losing. I'm kneeling in the red mud, staining the white of my soul, tracing the jagged line where I'm no longer whole. The razor's made of diamond, the rib is made of light. I'm cutting out a piece of me to get us through the night. It's a messy kind of magic, a holy kind of gore. I'm opening a wound so I can open up a door. The clay is getting warmer, the ghost is taking corner. I'm shivering in the garden as the fever starts to climb, counting out the seconds of our very first time. I pulled a silver splinter from the center of my chest to give your heart a hollow where it can finally rest. You're the theft I'm celebrating, you're the scar I'm gonna keep, the secret I was whispering before I fell asleep. It took a rib and a razor just to see your face. Now there's a beautiful ruin in my holy place. I'm stitching up the vacuum with a thread of nerves and veins, trading in my lightning bolts for the pleasure of your pains. Your eyes are dark and heavy with the dust of distant moons. I'm humming ancient melodies to fill your empty rooms. I used to be the mountain, I used to be the sea. Now I'm just a broken thing with your ghost inside of me. One for the breath, two for the bone, three for the terror of never being alone. You're breathing, I can hear you breathing. It's the most terrifying sound I've ever made.
Day and night? No, it wasn't like that. Not at first, it was just a fever-ridden break. They called it creation, but it felt more like a riot. Imagine waking up for the first time and realizing you have skin, and then realizing there's someone else with skin, and the air between you is screaming to be closed. He invented the sun just so he could see the color of her eyes, and then he invented the moon because he couldn't bear the thought of her ever being truly hidden. 7 days, that's what the books say. But they don't tell you that the 7 days felt like 7,000 years of burning. They were drunk on the very act of being. They weren't just naming the animals, they were naming the aches. It was a week of pure and adulterated lightning, when neither of them realized that when you build a fire that bright, you're bound to run out of wood. Monday was a whiteout, I forgot my own name. Tuesday we were tangling in a brand new flame. I told the grass to grow just so you had a bed. I told the stars to quiet down so I could hear what you said. The world is spinning clockwise, but we're leaning the other way. I'm packing a lifetime into every single day. The sky is turning purple, then a bruising heavy gold. I'm terrified of stories that have already been told. We're the first ones to the fire, we're the last ones to the dark. We're the oxygen, the tinder, and the goddamn score. 6 nights of madness, 1 day of rest, a thumbprint beating inside my chest. We're spinning the globe just to watch it stop, falling for miles from the mountain top. It's a 7-day fever, a holy kind of high, writing I love you across the naked sky. By Thursday I was shaken, by Friday I was blind, leaving the I am a billion miles behind. Your taste in the water, your name in the fruit. I'm watching the blossom while I'm digging for the root. Is it morning, is it evening, is it even Sunday yet? Or is this just the only part we're allowed to not forget? Don't blink, the oceans are rising. Don't breathe, the lions are waking. Don't move, the foundation is shaking. I made the sun for you, I made the dirt for you. I'd make it all disappear if it meant I could stay in this fever. 7 days, and on the 8th, they realized we were hungry.
Every fever has to break, child. You can't live at the sun's core forever without losing your eyes. They had the garden, sure. They had the perfection. But perfection is a sterile thing. It's a room with no corners to hide in. The serpent, he wasn't a monster. He was just the one who pointed out the exit sign. He whispered that the only thing better than being holy was being real. He told them that as long as they stayed in the light, they'd never see each other's shadows. So she took a bite, and then he took a bite. It wasn't about the fruit. It was about the hunger for the truth, and the truth is a jagged thing. The moment the juice hit their tongues, their garden didn't change, they did suddenly. They weren't the word or the creation, they were just two scared people standing in the mud, realizing they were finally, painfully naked. The sugar's on my chin and it tastes like copper wire. I'm standing in the center of a dying holy fire. The gold is peeling off the trees, the emerald's turning gray. I can see the wrinkles where the light used to play. You're looking at me different, like I'm something you can lose. That everything is over, now we're forced to have to choose. The fog is lifting off the floor. I'm seeing things I didn't see before. Your heart is in a diamond, it's a muscle and a bruise, and I'm the one who's holding all the matches and the fuse. By the skin and taste the lie. I didn't want the truth, I wanted to fly. Now the garden's overgrown and the gates are locked. We're naked in the shame and the cradles rock. The apples in the dirt and the juice is on the floor. I don't think I love the God in you anymore. I love the human more. Cover up your shoulders, yeah, cover up your chest. The unfiltered version is a heavy, ugly test. We invented poem just to feel what's right. We traded in the hallways for a single bitter night. I see your fear, I see your grit, I see your hollow bones. We're building up a kingdom out of heavy, jagged stone. The void is coming back for its share. The silence is hanging in the air. Was it worth it to see me bleed, to plant the first and final seed? It's cold out here. Pick up your coat. The word is stuck in my